How's it going, guys? It's the Pixelated Pumpkin, and in today's video, I'll be taking a look at Moore's Costumes Halloween 2022 animatronic lineup. Possibly just the start of it, only time will tell if there's more. But anyways, a few days ago, or depending on when you're watching this, a YouTube channel, also a Halloween and horror memorabilia distributor over in the UK, released a few videos, small clips of Moore's Costumes Halloween 2021, Halloween 2022 animatronic lineup. All SVI props so far. And today I'll be taking a look and discussing all of them. I uploaded a compilation video, but you'll be seeing them all here anyways. I'll just be playing their demos again. So if you want to go watch that video, go ahead, but there's really no need since you'll see them all here. Anyways, I'll be taking a look at them in the order they were uploaded to their YouTube channel. So the first one we're starting off with is a Scarecrow. I forget his name. I'll mention it when we get the review or the overview and discussion of him started. Anyways, we're going to be taking a look at that prop first, so let's jump right into it.
Some pumpkins are meant to be eaten, but my little carnivorous pumpkin has turned the tables on you, humans! Don't worry, he only eats flesh within his reach.
Alright, so here it is, at long last, our first new for 2022 Moore's Costumes Animatronic, and we're already off to a good start with the Rotten Harvester. So there are a lot of things I like and don't like about the Scarecrow, and if you know me, I love Scarecrow and farm props, but let me get into why this guy really isn't all that great in my opinion. I still like him, don't get me wrong, but we'll start off with my positives first. Starting off with my biggest positive, the way his face looks. I love that Scarecrow face he has right there. It looks kind of like a skeleton, but it looks different enough that it definitely looks like a Scarecrow. And I do like the burlap design they gave it. Even though it's latex, the burlap texturing looks very good on it, and I have to hold it up to that. It does look cool. And his overall design, too, looks really, really nice. Just everything about the Scarecrow character is really cool. And especially the concept here. I love the concept they have going on. Something like this has never been done before, so I think it is super unique and original with what's happening here, with him holding some sort of potted plant. We've never seen anything like this before, especially that's a pumpkin, but I'll get into why I don't really like the pumpkin in a few minutes now. Anyways, another great thing, probably the last thing I have to say that I love about this prop is his voice. I really love that one little phrase we got there, and just his voice sounds really nice, just overall really, really good. Now let's talk about what I am not too big of a fan of, and that is the pumpkin. Now, fortunately, I feel like this kind of ruins the prop for me just a little bit here. I know it sounds kind of nitpicky, but the way the pumpkin is just really, really isn't like something natural, and also it just does not look good. The pumpkin just does not look natural. This is not how pumpkins grow in real life, with it hanging off the vine like that. So I would have preferred to see a bigger pumpkin like sitting on top of the flower pot and not hanging from a long stem, which I just really think it doesn't look too good. You might have had to sacrifice the mouth movement, but I feel like that'd be fine with me. Or you could just change it to like his whole the upper jaw of the pumpkin moves instead, like his whole head moves instead of just lower jaw. I feel like that could have worked out better even, but I don't know. The pumpkin is just a major turnoff from this prop for me. It looks so plasticky and cheap, just not very good at all in my opinion. The pumpkin really drags the rest of this prop down for me, unfortunately. But overall, I think I have to say this is definitely going to be my favorite thing we see from Moore's as of right now, and the props only get worse from here in my opinion. But anyways, this is it for the Rotten Harvester. Overall, I say he's a pretty solid prop, 7.5 out of 10, I guess. I'm not going to be rating the rest of them. I feel like it's just kind of important to say here, since a lot of people are loving the lineup so far, but unfortunately, I'm not too, I don't know what to say. I'm not too big on it this year. Definitely already way better than last year's, with just the sheer amount of life sizes we have, which is already a lot more than last year. But anyways, I think it's off to a solid start with the Rotten Harvester.
Well, isn't this a pleasant surprise that you should wander into my neck of the woods? Has the journey made you famished? I just finished cooking up something fresh. Oh, you're better off not knowing who ended up in the stew. Some things are better just being mysteriously delicious.
Our next prop is called the Servocron Witch. Now, this is obviously a reskin or another animatronic that is using Grimm's mechanism from last year, and I think this is good not seeing it on another skeleton, and it is interesting to see how it works with a latex head, which I think it works phenomenal, if I'm being honest. Now, even though these are some pretty nice compliments about the prop, I'm just saying in terms from an experimental view from SVI, just seeing how the servos and the mech would work on a latex head, I think it shows lots of problems with this prop. But the prop itself kind of sucks. I really am not a big fan of witch props, and this one is no exception. It is really, really cheesy and goofy, especially with the voice lines. It is not creepy or scary at all. Honestly, I think the mold here and the face mold and the hand mold, honestly, and the whole way the witch is dressed, honestly have a chance to be scary, but it is just all ruined by those god-awful phrases. I mean, they are really, really bad. I am not a big fan of this prop in the slightest, except for the fact that it uses Grimm's mechanism, and even with the animation, I feel like they don't use the servo movements enough throughout the activation. As you could see, her head moves only a little bit like Grimm's. It is obviously the same thing, but I feel like this goes for Grimm too. They really didn't have really fully utilize all the movements it was capable of. They kind of just had it move every once in a while instead of being constantly moving, which I feel like would be for the better. So I don't know. Overall, I think the concept of using Grimm with like different heads or using the whole mechanism with basically just a whole new costume thrown over it works really well, and arguably they could pull off things better than Grimm, or just honestly put every animatronic with this animation now, unless it's like an original concept like what we saw with the Rotten Harvester. But overall, I think the witch itself is bad, but using Grimm's mech with like different kinds of characters and props really, really works. Alrighty, so our next prop is the hulking werewolf, and I'm just really gonna come right out and say it. I am not a big fan of this prop at all. In fact, I think it is pretty bad, even worse than the witch we just took a look at. First of all, a lot of the Morris costumes prop this year seem like they're following the ideology of the bigger the prop is, the better, and I could not disagree farther with that. I am all for unique and scary props, and unfortunately, this guy is neither of those. His only appeal to him is that he's gigantic and probably way overpriced, which I guess really isn't an appeal. But anyways, this werewolf really isn't that good at all, in my opinion. I think the face is fine, but it just looks so goofy and generic. I mean, really. Also, the way the neck fur attaches to the shirt looks so fake. It looks like the fur is over the shirt, which it should not, obviously, but that's the way the prop is even set up, I'm pretty sure. And his animation is so lackluster as well. I mean, all he does is move his arms and his mouth. Mr. Howl, I feel like this was their idea of what a Mr. Howl clone would be like, and I just have to say, they have failed tremendously of trying to copy Mr. Howl. That's pretty sure that's what they're trying to do here anyways. I think this is a very, very poorly executed werewolf prop, and I just do not like it at all. The clothes, extremely generic, and just the way it looks so fake looking, and I'm just not a big fan of this one. If you like it, that's completely fine. I respect everybody's opinion on props, but really, I'm not a big fan of this guy at all, and really, Moore's costumes, definitely, this year especially, they're really going on the idea that bigger equals better, and I know that sounded dirty, but we're talking about animatronics here. Get your head out of the gutter, goddammit.
Who wants to play a funny little trick tonight? Jokesters are all welcome here. I might have a trick for you, so you better not turn your back on me.
So here we come to, by far, my least favorite prop from Moore's Costumes this year, Pesky the Clown. Now, remember I was saying Moore's Costumes really thinks bigger equals better? Yeah, well, here's that prop. This thing's only appeal is probably that's around 8 feet tall, I want to say. Other than that, this thing is the most generic garbage clown I have seen in a very, very long time. There is nothing at all special about this clown. His phrases are horrible and generic. his look is horrible and generic. He only has these two blank colors as his color scheme here, which is the red and yellow, which looks horrible in my opinion. Then we have his face, which is literally just an exact replica, or the same head, really. The same mold, same everything as Big Top Clown, so nothing unique there. And his animation is abysmal. He only turns his head from side to side and has mouth animation. There is no other animation other than that, and I'm sure this guy is easily going to be well over $300, so I think it is ridiculous with how much they're probably going to charge for this thing. I know we haven't got the prices yet, but knowing Moore's Costumes, this thing is going to be $300. This is just such a generic crap prop, and I just really can't believe it. Feel free to disagree here, but this is easily the worst one so far. I really didn't think the other ones were so bad as per se, but this one, I honestly think it's horrid. Our next animatronic is called the Tumbling Clown, and if I'm being honest, I like this one a lot. Now, this isn't the first time this mechanism has been used by something. I mean, we've seen them in a lot of other places, not in a Halloween animatronic, so it's the first time it's actually being used as a Halloween animatronic. So it's a simple trapeze mechanism, and I really have no problem with this one. In fact, I actually quite like it. The music is fine, and the doll itself is actually very creepy looking, and the animation is nice to see finally on a Halloween prop, and I think the clown is definitely the best thing to give it to. I'm hoping it's only around like $50 though. I feel like that would be the best price for it, maybe like $50 to the $75 range. I really can't see it being more than that though. Knowing Moore's Costumes, they're probably going to make it like $100. In that case, it would not be worth it at all. But if this is around $50, I think it could definitely be a really good purchase for a lot of people out there, and it'll be a fair price too. Overall, I have zero problems with this. I just hope it doesn't look too sturdy from this video, really. But overall, I like this one a lot, actually. And other than that, there really isn't too much to say. Overall, this is a great one.
Ah, I see you're here to help dig up all these graves. Once we've risen the dead, they're gonna raise the roof off this party. So hurry up and start digging. No rest for the wicked.
So here's probably the biggest example of Moore's Costumes thinking bigger equals better for those props with the Graveyard Host. And I have to say, with this guy being probably, it looks like he's going to be around 10 feet tall or so, is honestly what makes me hate this thing so much. Now, I don't think it's a bad prop per se. I just think the fact that it's 10 feet tall, or again, somewhere around there, it makes zero sense for something that's supposed to be the size of a human being. That is really what makes me hate this prop so much, is that it's just 10 feet for absolutely no reason, and it doesn't make sense, and I feel like it makes the prop a lot worse. The prop could have been really good, like a very, very good, another take on a Gravedigger character. It still looks a little bit too similar to the Home Depot Gravedigger, but I feel like it could have been another cool Gravedigger character. Maybe they gave it the same animation as him. I still would have liked the original better, but I do like the way this one looks. But the fact that it's 10 feet tall for absolutely no reason honestly ruins it for me, and I am super disappointed by that. Overall, I would have liked it a lot more if it was smaller. I mean, it just makes zero sense to me. A lot of people are probably going to disagree with me on this one, that being the only reason why I dislike it, but it doesn't make any sense why it would be 10 feet tall. That's what I really hate about it. It's supposed to be the size of a normal human being, so like 6-7 feet tall, but 10 feet tall for a human character, it's not really human, it's an undead character, but still, making zero sense at all, and just frankly ruining the character for me.
I was brought here to scare off the crows, but we've become great pals instead. Ain't that just the way it goes with friends?
So our final prop is the whimsical Scarecrow, and in all honesty, I mean, it does what it's trying to achieve, which is to make a family-friendly prop, probably for like younger kids to enjoy, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's perfectly fine, and honestly, the market for it is really small. For Halloween animatronics, we typically only see scary ones, so I think it's nice to see that the family-friendly stuff is actually starting to come out a little bit more, I guess. But
overall, I think this one is just fine. I really don't have too much to say about it. I only really like Scary Halloween Animatronics, so this one really doesn't do it for me. But it achieves what it's trying to achieve perfectly, I think, and that's enough for really what it is. Overall, I think this one is fine, and there's really not much else to say about it other than that. His phrases, I guess, are a little bit too goofy. I feel like they could have been a little less, silly, but, it's doing what it needs to do. Anyways, that's going to be it, so let's cut to the outro. Before we cut to the outro, I just want to give one last wrap-up and my just general thoughts on Boar's costumes so far this year. And overall, I think it is so much better than last year, but really, none of the props impress me too much, and they just really aren't my type of props. I'm happy to see that we're getting actual life sizes again, unlike last year. I'm pretty sure we only had, probably around 5, but most of the props were just so awful last year. Every single one of these props as of now are pretty much all better, except for, I'm going to say, the clown and probably the werewolf, maybe. I don't know. I did like Cellar Dweller better than the werewolf, and definitely Jack Stalker is better than a few of these here. Overall, none of these are too, that really stick out that much to me. It's the first props we're getting this year, and it is exciting to see what they're bringing to the table so far, and I just hope this isn't it for this year for Moore's costumes. I have a feeling there are still a lot of props we have yet to see, like Techie Toys props. They always have a bunch from them, so I'm excited to see what else they have to bring to the table this year. But for as of right now, I know it's been a lot of negative stuff throughout this video, but I think it is just generic and just fine enough. It's passable, but it was still way better than last year, regardless of anything. Anyways, overall, so far, it is meh, in my opinion, but it seems like a lot of people are enjoying it, so I'm happy if everyone else is happy. So, you know what? It's good enough. If it's good enough for everyone else, it's good enough for me. I really haven't come to expect anything too special from Moore's costumes anymore, especially after last year, and it looks like this year is shaping up to be better, but still really not as good as their 2020 season. But anyways, that's going to be it, so for real this time, let's cut to the outro. Alright everyone, that's going to do it for my discussion and overview of the Moore's Costumes Halloween 2022 animatronic so far. Overall, again, a lot of negative stuff throughout this video, but, I really haven't come to expect much from Moore's Costumes anymore. Anyways, that is going to be it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. As always, also check out my merch and my Instagram in the description below. And I guess with all that, as always, this is the Pixelated Pumpkin, signing out. Thanks for watching.